All right, we are trying to find the zeros for this. So we already tried factoring by grouping, it didn't work. So now we're going to list the factors of the constant. Well, the constant is 1. What are the factors of 1? 1, right? We don't have to worry about the signs because remember in our list we're just going to make them all plus minus. And then we'll list the factors of our leading coefficient. What is my leading coefficient? That's an L. Yeah, my leading coefficient is 2, so my factors are 1 and 2. So now I'm going to make this list of possible rational roots. So can someone tell me what's going to be in this list? 1 and 1/2. Correct. You get these numbers by taking this and dividing it by each of these. If there were more numbers here, you would take each of those numbers and divide. All right, but I only have 1 up here, so my list is pretty small, which is nice because there won't be that much to plug in. Do not forget, you always get a plus minus in front of these. Always. So there's only 4 possible zeros that this thing has. So it's not going to take me that long to find the right one. So now what I do is I'm just going to synthetically divide them in till I find one that works. So let's drop down our coefficients. 2, -5, 4, and -1. So this time, I can't rule out positives or negatives, right, because I have some negative coefficients. So I'm just going to start with +1 and hope for the best. Ooh, lucky us. We found a 0 on the first try. So that means that +1 is a 0, which means it came from the factor, someone said it, x minus 1, right? So if that's my 0, that's the factor it came from. And then these are the coefficients of what's left over. That's your remainder, so we don't really care about it. This is, yep, this is the coefficient of x. This is the coefficient of x squared. So when I write it nice and neat, I have 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. And now you're down to a quadratic, and we talked about the 4 ways to solve quadratics: square rooting, factoring, quad formula, or completing the square. So you can't solve by square rooting, right, because b is not 0. Let's try and factor. Are there factors of 2 that add up to be -3? And yeah, -2 and -1. Those are factors of +2 that add up to be -3. So I'm going to multiply that by that, so I'm going to have x squared minus 3x plus 2. That, I'm running out of room, so I'm just going to write it over here. That becomes x minus 2, x minus 1, but since I multiplied by 2 in the beginning, now I have to divide by 2. So that's x minus 1 and x minus 1/2. Don't forget the x minus 1 factor that we had from before, right? So I'm just going to squeeze that in, another x minus 1. So here is my polynomial completely factored. Now, when I have to say what the zeros are, what's the 0 that comes from this? 1 from this. 1 again. So I got 1 twice. So how do I say that? 1 with a multiplicity of 2. Good. So I got 1 with multiplicity of 2. And from this I get +1/2. How many answers was I supposed to have? 3. And I have them. I got 1 twice, so that's 1, 2, 3.